Drives one in the air. Deep right field. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Way back it might be. It could be. Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win. Holy cow.
The Dingers podcast is on the air. I'm your host, Mitch, riding solo today. Going to talk a little Cubs bullpen, a little preview of the 2025 Cubs bullpen. Spring training games are on the way or have been underway. The Cubs are hot, 9-2. Been fun to watch all the new prospects getting playing time and just seeing baseball being played, whether in it's snowing here in Iowa. So it's just good to be able to know that here soon there's going to be baseball and there's going to be green grass and exciting Cubs baseball because the season is going to be a fun season for the Chicago Cubs. They're 9-2. It's been fun to watch spring training games, but today we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the Cubs bullpen because last year, let's be honest, the 2024 Cubs bullpen was a source of frustration for many of us fans. From inconsistency, from lack of injuries that took a toll on some of the guys that we counted on as being high leverage guys, and then other guys just being inconsistent that we count on for getting those high leverage situations. But this is a new look Cubs bullpen, and there's going to be three things I'm going to be looking at today. Key additions to the bullpen that are going to help. Big thing is internal growth from candidates from within the organization that are looking to take a big step this next year. And then we finally addressed the issue of a lefty in the bullpen, where we needed a lefty and we haven't had one in there. And I think we have some internal candidate and then somebody that we picked up along the way this offseason. So key additions. When you look at the bullpen last year, you had guys like Alzolay who you were counting on for big innings, big high leverage innings. Hector Neris that you got in free agency from Houston that you expected to take a lot of the eighth inning spots. And you had Merriweather, you had Almonte, you had guys who at the beginning of the year you were looking at as counting on being there for the 7, 8, 9, and none of those guys panned out, whether it be from injuries from Alzolay, Merriweather, Yency Almonte. They all went down super early, and you went through a stretch at the beginning of the season from April to like June where our bullpen was kind of just put together. And Jed would be the first one to let you know that they didn't have depth in the bullpen. And it significantly it hurt the Cubs when it came to being able to shut games down towards the end. And it cost us a lot of wins. It cost a lot of wins on the board and could have been the difference of us making the playoffs. I know our offense there for 2 months was one of the worst in baseball as well, but you did go through a stretch where our bullpen was really struggling. And it wasn't until like June, July, where we picked up some guys and filled in the little holes. It was like we were building the aircraft in the air and it was tough. But this year we have some key additions. We have a big one in Ryan Presley. Ryan Presley, being the dude in Houston for a number of years is going to fit right into the Cubs closer role. He will be able to bridge kind of the gap between Porter Hodge, which Porter Hodge ended the year great, and we'll get into a little bit of Porter Hodge, but Ryan Presley has been a dude in Houston. 36-year-old spent the last 6 seasons as the high leverage reliever for Houston. Last year, he moved into more of an 8th inning role with addition of Hader. But during their World Series runs, he was the man in the 9th inning. He was the dude that was relied on to close out the games. World Series champion in 2022 with 111 saves throughout his experience. But the dude is just going to serve as an inning eater there at the end, a guy you can count on, and is a dog. We like to say that and kind of make fun that that we like to have dogs down at the end of the bullpen. Well, he's a dog. He's a guy that's going to be wanting that in that ninth inning, and he wants to be the closer. He wants that, and I think he's going to be great. Great pickup for the Cubs to identify. Hey, our bullpen was a struggle last year. Let's get some guys to fill in, and let's make sure we get a closer. And especially like I do see Porter Hodge as being the future closer of this team, and just to take a little bit of the pressure off and to give him somebody to learn from. And no better person than Ryan Presley there. The other one is Ryan Brazier. A great pickup, solid veteran who posted a 1.89 ERA over the last 2 seasons with the Dodgers. With him, Porter Hodge, and Presley at the back end of our bullpen, that's lights out. Like, the dude has an average of 95 mile an hour fastball, and velo on his fastball. He's just a guy that's been counted on for the Dodgers to be a solid guy in their bullpen. He will slot right in nicely to this Cubs bullpen and provide a good 7th inning guy or a good matchup guy for him to come in. Gets a lot of ride. He works a lot of up in the zone with his fastball, but he gets a lot of ride in his fastball, a lot of carry there. So he's another guy that was a great pickup. Eli Morgan, who we picked up from the Guardians, another middle inning reliever, just another guy it adds depth to our bullpen. He gets a lot of soft contact, a lot of hard hit or not hard hit balls. I think him and Tyson Miller will be kind of battling for those spots in the 6th, 7th inning of when we pull our starter of getting those innings, and it's going to be kind of a matchup. But they're both guys who don't get a lot of hard contact hit off them. Induces a lot of soft contact and allows our defense to work, which our defense is going to be one of the best in baseball. When you have Gold Glovers in the outfield, you have Gold Glovers up the middle, and you have Bush, who looked like a Gold Glover the second half of the season at first, and you have Shaw, who his play the other day, yesterday or 2 days ago, at third looks good. So they're going to be perfect guys that allow their defense to work behind them, with Eli Morgan coming over from the Guardians. But then you have guys like Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge kind of stepped up last year, took a huge step. When he first got called up, I wasn't so sure, but the dude just fit right into that 9th inning, has nasty stuff. Again, he kind of had that dog in him. He wanted the 9th inning and pitched really, really well. So when you look at just those 3 guys that we added in, and I'm not done. We have more additions that we'll get to, Theobar, but we'll talk about that when it comes to the lefties. But you pair that with the back end, when you get Brazier, you get Presley, and then you match that up with what we already currently had in Porter Hodge. That looks like a really good back end of the bullpen, where we can take our closer out and know that we're going to have dudes down there that we can count on, which I feel like we haven't had guys that we can like super count on the last couple of years. But Porter Hodge is a dude, and he's going to be throwing gas, and he just has that swagger to him. I really am looking to have him take a huge step without that pressure of being the 9th inning guy this year, of him fitting into that 8th inning. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great to see him grow. And it gives us depth of, like, if Presley is struggling, we can fit Porter Hodge right back in there. Where last year, when Ellsbury went down and we threw Hector Neris in there, Hector Neris is not a closer. He never was. He was with the Phillies, but he was never a guy that you would put in the 9th inning and feel like, dude, this guy's going to throw gas and he's going to get guys out without them making contact. Where Presley, Porter Hodge, they have capability of striking guys out. And so that's a huge step in the right direction for the back end of our bullpen. Guys who are internal, who I look to take a huge step this year. I mean, we have Hodge. I'm looking to take a huge step. But then you have Daniel Plencia, a guy that we've had our eye on for a number of years in the organization, able to hit triple digits with his fastball. He's kind of floated between AAA and the Cubs, but hopefully this year I look for him to establish himself in that bullpen. He might start the year in the minors, but once he gets called up, I expect him to be established in this bullpen and a guy that can kind of transition once Presley and then move on, that he will be a solid guy in late innings for this Cubs team. We have Jack Neely, a guy that we got last year, brought over, been a high strikeout guy in the minors. Last year, I think he struck out guys in the minors at a 37% clip and a 2.86 ERA. If he can be able to transition that from the minors to the majors, like that's another guy who we can count on. Tall, lanky, left or righty. I liked what I saw last year. I liked what I saw down at the Iowa Cubs. He's a guy that looks really good. But the big thing is I'm excited to see the pitching development. We got Trend Athletics Tyler Zambro, and I'm excited to see him get these guys in the lab and figure out what they're good at and really capitalize on that. So like Plencia, I feel like he's going to be the perfect guy for Zambro to kind of figure out how to use him effectively and to improve on his pitches and make him elite. So I'm super excited to see that. The other thing is lefties. We finally have addressed the lefty issue, and it starts internally, since we've just talked about internally, is Luke Little. I am super excited to see the step Luke Little is going to take. Last year, he was a dude there for a while in the Cubs bullpen because of injuries. He got thrust in there, was pitching really well as a lefty out of the pen, and then he went down with an injury. So I'm really excited. Dude is a giant on the mound and throws gas. And so I'm excited to see what he can do well paired up with Theobar, another guy that we have picked up from the Twins, a huge upgrade. And clearly we've needed an upgrade from the lefty side. Again, he is a little bit older, 38, coming off a down year with the Twins. But we got him really cheap, just $1 million in 2025, has a career of 3.38 ERA in 73 games. He's primed for a bounce back season, or bounce back with the Cubs. So pair him with Luke Little from the left-hand side. If one of them goes down with an injury or needs rest, I feel like they're going to pair up really, really well. And so if Luke Little last year struggled a little bit with command issues, if he can get that under control, he had flashes of greatness. I feel like Little's going to start in the minors because we have Theobar, but Theobar is a little bit older. His innings are going to mount up fast. So Luke Little could be kind of right there pairing with Theobar. Then you have other guys like Riley Martin, who will try to make this club, Tyson Miller. You have other guys who are right there knocking at the doorstep. Another name I throw out there, you have Julian Merriweather, who is back, who went through a ton of injuries the year before. All the injuries, was a lights out guy at the of our rotation or end of our bullpen. Again, I mentioned Tyson Miller, Nate Pearson. He might be stretched out, but he throws gas. You have Ethan Roberts, who's going to be trying to make this opening day roster. Caleb Killian, he's one that I have wanted to take a step forward for the last couple of years. Has dealt with injuries last year, but he came back last year in the second half after injury, threw gas, and looked really good. So I'm hoping for him to make a huge step. And then there's other guys like Brad Keller. Zambro has raved about getting opportunity to work with Brad Keller, who was elite there for a little bit. And so getting him in the labs and being able to work with him, you have Trevor Richards also. So the thing is that I want to talk about is it's just the depth of our bullpen this year. There's depth to it. Where last year, when we had a couple injuries go down, like it was difficult to find a guy that you could count on, or as a fan to feel comfortable that they're going to get some outs here. And so you have depth, and that's going to be huge. Brandon Hughes is back from the left side. I think he'll spend most of the time in the minors, but it does add depth. So there's a little preview of this bullpen. I'm excited to see them as they start the year. I feel like that is going to be huge. Is can we get guys put into the right slots? I feel like the last couple of years it's taken a while to figure out who's going to be the long guy. I know Drew Smiley was bouncing back and forth. Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be the long guy? And that took a while to kind of figure out where everybody fits in. And so I think this year there's more established spots. Like Porter Hodge is going to be the 8th inning guy. Ryan Presley is going to be the 9th inning guy. Ryan Brazier and Theo Barr and Merriweather and Morgan are going to be matchup guys. And depending on who we're playing, and Luke Little is going to, it's going to be all matchup. But at least we have depth in guys that we can go to and we can count on to throw strikes and work to their strongest abilities. So I'm excited for this bullpen a lot more than last year. And I was really high on Hector Neris, and I admit I was wrong. The dude crapped the bed right there last year. And so, but this year I look at this and it's just depth. I see depth. And I think that's kind of been the theme with a lot of what Jed was doing this offseason, as he wanted depth. There's still some areas where we don't have depth, but we picked them up late. But we have a lot of depth within our bullpen. So that's going to be the big thing going into the season, is seeing how our new acquisitions, how they fare. Internally, do we have guys that can step up and grow and take a step forward this year? And we have finally addressed from the left side of getting Theo Barr, and I think Luke Little is going to make a huge step. So there's a little preview of the Cubs bullpen. Again, make sure you're following us on Twitter or X, whatever it is, at Dinger Cubs. Go and check out the boys at Cubs on Tap as well, and make sure you're following On Tap Sportsnet, where you get the best in all of Chicago sports. So again, if you want to check out more about the Cubs bullpen, we have an article on ontapsportsnet.com that breaks down all of our Cubs bullpen. So go and check out that article as well. So thanks for listening, and go Cubs.